Hello, it is February 28th, 2021, and it's time for my next weekly wrap up. I read 5 books again this week. I've been going pretty steady with reading 5 books a week. Next week might be different because I am currently about 200 pages into a 700-page book, though I do have parent teacher conferences on Tuesday. And it's spring conferences, and I'm a high school teacher, so no one's going to show up. So maybe I'll get some reading done then. But on the other hand, I am also writing a new first draft, so that might take precedence. But we'll see. We'll see. But first up, this past week, I finished up And I Darken by Kiersten White. This is a Vlad the Impaler retelling where Vlad is a girl, and it follows her and her brother Radu as they are ending up in like the Ottoman Empire, and it's kind of a fantasy, but it is more of like a alternate history, so an alternate historical fiction situation. I enjoyed it. Lada, the main character, she is the kind of character that I enjoy quite a bit, where she's just a dumbass bruiser. I kind of like that a lot, and she's very much like this is what has to be done, so I'm gonna do it kind of girl, and I like that a lot. Radu is interesting too. I think it is interesting how White did flip the script a little bit, where our female character is the dumbass bruiser and our male character is the smart, pretty one who gets what he wants by using his wit and face. I like that a lot. I also like the writing. It was pretty good. I liked the history aspect. I do like looking at like that Eastern European, vaguely Middle Eastern area. That's always kind of fun. I have ancestors who come from that area, so that's just cool to read from, because a lot of times, especially with fantasy and historical fiction, you see a lot of the Western Europe situation. You don't see a lot of the Eastern European stuff, which I enjoy it quite a bit. I thought it was fun. It was pretty violent. Very violent. It did not hold back, which I enjoyed. I know that a lot of people have like the second and the third books better in the series, which I'm excited for, because like I said, I enjoyed this one. It was not fantastic. Like, I think I'll probably keep it around. I might not unhaul it. I'm not sure yet. But it wasn't like my favorite book I've ever read. I'm excited. I do want to continue on with the series though. It's a very nice floppy book. I do want to continue on with the series. I want to see how that goes. But yeah, I think 4 out of 5 stars. It was pretty good. Then I finished up a book that I am teaching. This one is for the 9th graders. That is The Yearling by Marjorie, Kinnan, Rawlings. This is it's from like the 30s, classic book about a boy who grows up in rural Florida right after the Civil War and his pet deer. It's 400 fucking pages long. It is a lot. One thing I will say about it though is I don't know what it is about that time period. Maybe it's because they were all starving because of the Great Depression, but books written in like the 1930s, unless they're by John Steinbeck, like a lot, we'll say maybe children's books written in the 1930s, their descriptions of food are always my favorite. Like, I remember, actually don't really know when these books were written, but I remember when I was younger and reading the Laura Ingalls Wilder books, those descriptions of food have stuck with me. And so like this book did kind of the same thing, where the descriptions of food are just phenomenal. Like, the author spends so much time describing this food and describing everything. I mean, the descriptions are on point and fantastic. So that's good. I will say, I don't want to say like props for not using the N word, but I guess they were more worried about Indians. So there's that. So this is a book from pre 1960 that doesn't use the N word, so that's good. But yeah, no, it was okay. I mean, it wasn't as bad as I'm trying to make it out to be. It's just 400 pages long, and I'm not sure that it needs to be. I'm not sure that it really accomplishes much, but I read it, and so there's that. Then I read another book that I think I gave it like 3 stars, and then I read another book that was kind of along the same lines, where it's like I don't really think I got anything out of it. That's 20 by Debra, Landwehr, Engle. This is an arc, but it came out in February of 2020, so about a year ago. Exactly a year. Oh no. On sale 1/28/2020, but this is February, I don't know, about a year ago. This is about a woman who is depressed. She's like in her 50s, and she's depressed, and so she decides to take these pills that a doctor gave her for her mother, that if her mother is having too much pain, the pills will help her through the last 20 days and then she'll die. And so this woman is depressed, so she decides to take them, and then it's about the last 20 days of her life, and whether these pills are actually going to kill her or not, she doesn't know. It was just, I mean, I guess it was saying something. I don't know if I am the right age or mindset to read this. I mean, I'm 23 and I'm not depressed, so I think that maybe this is not a book that is very, I mean, relevant for me. And I know like I don't need to relate to books personally to enjoy them, but it was just kind of meh. It was just kind of there. I read it. I don't remember much. It's very very like navel gazy. There's some Jesus-y stuff in there, which is not my cup of tea, so there was that too. But yeah, I mean, it was there. I read it. I did win it from a Goodreads giveaway. It was okay. I think I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Like I said, complete non-entity. It was not anything bad, but I just didn't care that much for it. So then I read another book for teaching it. This is a reread. This is actually one of my favorite books. That is A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess. I get to teach this to my juniors and seniors, and it's really fun so far. I love A Clockwork Orange. This was the edition that has the final chapter in it, the kind of chapter they added for the American edition that they didn't have in the original version. I'm still not sure like which one I like more. Like I do love that wham ending line of the original without that final chapter in it, where it's like I was cured, all right. I love that so much. But I mean, I do think that the final chapter just kind of adds a little bit more hope to the story. So we'll see. I don't know. But I love A Clockwork Orange. It is the more times I read it, the more I love it, because obviously I get more into it. I get more. It's easier for me to read because if you're not aware, Clockwork Orange is written in a completely made up slang that is very difficult to read the first time through. I remember when when we first started the book with the juniors and seniors, I gave them all a copy. And I read the first paragraph out loud, and they were like, "What the fuck?" And it was like, it's a difficult book, but I do really enjoy it. It's very violent. It's very intense. It's I remember one of my junior girls tried watching the movie. And she's like, I didn't realize. I only got halfway through. It was that fucked up. And I was like, that's why we're not watching the movie in school there. So there's that. But I do love it. I think it's a really interesting book. It's really fun, but on the other hand, it also does say a lot, and I do really enjoy it. I think it's a really great book. I need to read more from Burgess. I've only read A Clockwork Orange, and granted, I've read A Clockwork Orange about 8 times, but I need to read more from him because it remains one of my favorite books. It's a really fun time. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. And then I listened to my final audio cassettes set. That is the first part of The Green Mile, The Two Dead Girls. This is by Stephen King. It's read by... Ooh, who's this? The first audio cassette set I've listened to that was not read by like a celebrity. Frank Muller. But this is The Green Mile, which is Stephen King's wrongful conviction story. It did make me want to sit down and like reread the book, because I have read the book. I actually got it in a bunch of these little parts, because this was originally released as a serial novel. But it's about a man who works on death row, and one inmate that really makes a mark on him and everything. And it's a good story. I do need to reread it. And this was kind of just like a taste to get me like, oh yeah, no, I should reread that book now. So yeah, I think I give it 4 out of 5 stars. I'm not going to be listening to very many more audiobooks on cassette in the future, because I mean, I bought these 3 kind of on a whim, but now I've got my book wall shrinkage situation going on, so I'm not sure the next time I will buy one. But I am giving this one 4 out of 5 stars, and yeah, that's that. So these plus the 2 books that I finished for teaching are the books that are this past week. That is all for today. I will talk to you later, and goodbye.